Hey everybody, Brandon with fastdatascience.ai, and I want to let you in on a little secret. Do you like lists? I love lists. Lists keep me super motivated because I love crossing stuff off of lists. Have you ever noticed how when you cross things off of lists, it's sort of like a little teeny bit rewarding, and you're like, "Oh, yes," and you want to kind of go to the next thing and cross more things off that list? Yeah, me too. So I love to do it so much that I even put stupid stuff on those lists, like, drink coffee for the day or whatever it is. Check, done. Next. Now I'm ready for the big thing. Train a new machine learning model. No, just kidding. All right, so hey, welcome to today's show. And before I start the show, I want to start with a little funny story about the show. So last night, I'm at dinner, and I was taking a look at my metrics because those are also super rewarding. And I was noticing that my number of subscribers was hovering right around 50. I think we're at like 54 today. Uh, and, I was feeling pretty excited about it. So I thought I'd share it with my family. I said, hey, guess what? I saw that my subscribers is about, 50-ish, 50 plus for the show. And as my wife's looking at me, about to congratulate my 7-year-old daughter, says, "Oh yeah, I subscribe, Dad." And then my 10-year-old son looks at me and goes, "Yeah, me too, Dad." So hey, I've said it before and I will say it again. You're never too young to start learning data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So if all of my subscribers are between 7 and 10 years old, share this with your friends, your family, your parents, whoever. All right, let's go ahead and get after it. So today's show has a theme. All right, remember, I told you this is the show where I bring you not only the latest in top headlines in the news for machine learning, data science, and artificial intelligence, but I also bring you terrible puns with AI. Okay, so here's my first terrible pun because today's show has a theme. There is a theme today, and that theme, and I'm sure this is not a surprise to people when you see it, but that theme is right here. It is the Great Resignation AI. So the Great Resignation, I'm sure you've all heard it. If you're a manager, you've experienced it. You're losing people like crazy. If you're an individual contributor, you're loving it because you're getting all kinds of crazy offers where you're doubling your salary or whatever it is. So this show is going to really tackle some of the AI solutions that are actually starting to combat that very problem. That's how quick this industry moves because this wasn't a problem 3 years ago, but today it is a problem. And there are products on the market to help you solve it, and those products are being driven by AI. So let's go ahead and get after today's show. Today is April 7th, 2022. And what we are going to be talking about today, as I mentioned, is a lot of things related to HR, AI in HR. And so, what did our little bot find? Our little bot found 80 articles sitting in my inbox. Of those 80 articles, organized into 4 different topic areas. Okay, what are those topic areas? The first topic area is no code. We'll get to that actually. It's one of the things that I found really interesting this week, and so I'll talk a little bit about one of those news articles. I'll explain myself as that comes. Number 2, skills and applications. So this was kind of our education bucket, the biggest one, but kind of mixed it with some other things related to just general job skills related to data science, machine learning, and AI. Topic number 3 was top X. There was all these articles that hit. There were like top 10 skills, top 10 trends, top 5 things in AI, whatever. Topic number 4 is the one that really kind of captures, I think, a lot of what I saw hit my inbox this week, which is really battling the Great Resignation. So let's go ahead and take a look at the articles that really got my attention. I took a deeper look at, and I want to learn with you. So let's do it. Okay, so can AI reverse the Great Resignation? All right, that's the one headline that kind of hit me. Now, okay, truth be told, I know you're looking at this and you're probably noticing the date on there, and you're like, wait a second, that date says March 4th. Yo, Brandon, it's April 8th. All right, that wasn't this week in AI. That was last month in AI. I get it, I know, but I pulled this out because the articles that I saw for this week got me thinking about this. Is there other stuff out there on AI reversing the Great Resignation? And so I found this article. And so I start you with this, but I'm going to get to what I actually saw this week related to this problem. Why do I care? Look, Employees with skill matter. Particularly, I can tell you there's three areas that are really, really hot right now: cybersecurity, IT security, data science, and digital product. If you're in one of those three areas, this market is for you. You could get a really well paying job. But what we're really interested in understanding from the company side of things is, how do we keep those people? How do we keep those people in this super hot market? Because it's not just hot for those folks, it's also hot for a lot of other roles. And in general, our economy is just doing really well right now. So, can AI improve the workplace? And according to that last article, it can. It can, with a little dash, a little hint of intelligence. In this particular piece, it takes a look at actually using artificial intelligence and giving some ideas on how artificial intelligence can help support and improve the workplace for workers, getting them more engaged, more interested in actually participating with their company, staying on board, not leaving for a better paying job. Because let's be honest, it isn't all about the money. Maybe a little bit, maybe a little bit. Okay, maybe a lot of it. But still, there's a lot of other things that help keep people help keep people engaged in their job, and a lot of those things AI can start to help to address. So here is a list of some of those examples. One of the ones in here that I find really interesting is predicting or telling people, hey, maybe it's time for a break a little earlier than your actual break. Now, that's in the context of a call center. Where you're actually, sort of doing a lot of kind of, repetitious things, calling a lot of people, and, so finding, time to take breaks and things like that are really important. And there's some other really interesting things in here that I find really kind of valuable in thinking about how AI can help augment the work experience. So what actual articles were related to this that hit my inbox this week are things related to this. So Presidio uses machine learning to identify at-risk employees and build tailored retention plans with ProCare 3.0. So ProCare 3.0 is a platform that allows companies to have a little bit more visibility into, and a little bit more intelligence behind, into flight risk for their employees. Okay, so this is one industry that in the past really didn't get a whole lot of attention from the data science, machine learning, and AI world, and that is human resources. But ever since this phenomena of the Great Resignation has kind of hit our economy, all of a sudden companies are realizing, oh yeah, I got to invest in my people if I want to keep them. And so money is starting to come into this particular domain. And so we're starting to see that money get invested into artificial intelligence solutions. And here's one of those that allows companies to have more visibility over flight risk and other things related to employee performance and employee satisfaction. And then it builds recommendations for different employees depending on their risk level, that allows the company to offer those individuals more perks, right? Enjoy your experience, do additional things. Really, really cool, really interesting. Happy to see AI starting to have an impact here. Always felt like this was one area that artificial intelligence could impact. The other one is the other article that hit my inbox was leveraging data and analytics to support employee mental well-being. So not only are AI solutions being delivered to consumers to support mental well-being, but it's also coming back into companies, because let's be honest, 90% of our mental issues are because of our employer. maybe not that much, but still. So we're seeing artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science coming into these domains, leveraging HR data to be able to predict employee satisfaction. It's that simple. Okay, moving on. All right, let's take a look at our next section, which is really looking at skills. And I don't often cover this one because it is so common, and often, there's a lot of different opinions about how people should learn artificial intelligence. But I found this one really cool for two reasons. One, the headline, A Map for Learning Data Science by Syngenta's Serge Massey, viral post. Serge Massey's viral post. First, I didn't see it, so it wasn't viral for me, which lets you know how big the internet is, right? But apparently, a post went viral that was an interesting perspective on learning artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning stuff. And really, what happened here was Serge was kind of fed up with the idea that there are so many infographics that kind of put the learning of machine learning and data science on a linear pathway. And he said, look, it's not really like that. And I agree. I mean, it's definitely not. There's things that we learn at different times in our experience, and we focus on different areas to learn those things because we have specific problems that we want to solve. And so, what was really cool about this article is the image. And the image that was provided provides a really interesting way of thinking about how to learn this field. And that is to think of it like a map. So you've got a map, and in that map you have different locations and places. And we as students of these concepts, we just kind of sail around as we're learning these different things. And sometimes we anchor down on certain spots because we focus in on learning those things. The other thing that's really cool about this map is that it's got some reference to other areas that aren't commonly associated with data science, but they are totally data sciencey. Things like econometrics, those areas, and other areas related to more kind of niche data analytics, advanced data analytics, and data science in specific contexts. And so this is a really, really cool way of thinking about how to learn data science. I wanted to share it with y'all. And so definitely take a deeper dive into some of these concepts. As you think about learning these concepts, think of it as you're going on a sailing trip, right? That's way more pleasant than, I've got to, sort of follow in line with these, specific things. And oh, if I miss something, I got to go back. No, no, no. It's a trip on a sailboat, and you're just cruising around all these different concepts and learning them. So, all right. Moving right along, let's talk a little bit about, okay, so remember, I said the theme today is the Great Resignation. And so one of the things that we have to talk about, it's hard to talk about, guys, I'm serious, is the possibility that companies are investing in opportunities to get rid of their data scientists. Wait, what? Yeah. So, think about it, right? If we're pretty skilled, we cost a fair amount of money. It makes sense that it's a little bit of a pain point to have to keep paying our, luxurious salaries to continue to bring the value we bring with our skill set. And so companies are looking at opportunities to bring in more no-code solutions for building artificial intelligence, or building statistical models, fundamentally is what these systems are doing, to be able to allow artificial intelligence to have a bigger impact within an organization. So elevating human machine relationships with no code reusable AI. What is this all about? No code is not about Pearl Jam, but anyways, no code and the saga of no code in data science is continuing. It's alive. It's real. So why do I care? Should we all care, right? Are these no code platforms going to be taking our jobs? Look, I think at the end of the day, the answer is no, right? Ultimately, data science and the process of data science is so much more than just building statistical models. In fact, I think data scientists are going to benefit from a lot of these no-code platforms. What data scientists do really well is solving problems with the understanding of building pipelines that include statistical models in order to advance the sophistication of those pipelines. But at the end of the day, it's still a pretty unique skill set to put all those pieces together. This particular article talks a little bit about the difference between single versus comprehensive skills. So these no-code platforms in the past have really focused on building models for single use case situations. In this article, it talks about maybe going into the future where we may have AI that actually builds, that allows users to build capability that is more comprehensive. So think in terms of, like, for example, a customer service representative who has to deal with a lot of different tasks. So training AI to be able to handle those different tasks is sort of fundamental to being able to advance the AI influence in customer service. So there are some platforms that are trying to build this process out. And this article does a really good job of providing some different ways of visualizing that impact. Multi-level reusable AI and multitasking AI are all related and roll up into this idea of developing AI that has comprehensive or multitasking capabilities. And so what I really am interested in leaving you with is whether or not the codex that was developed by OpenAI as a part of their GPT-3 model that they built, this massive language model, codex, the part of that model that allows natural language to essentially be used to create code that can then be run to do things, build applications, whatever. This is the beginning of artificial intelligence being able to build itself. And so maybe Codex is the beginning of this trend to be able to build comprehensive, multi-level, reusable AI in a no-code environment so that you have users that can come into that environment with their domain expertise and teach the AI to do something like their job, oddly enough, and then be able to deploy that within their systems and effectively do so. So really cool, really interesting kind of trend that we're seeing that hasn't gone away, and I think it's getting more sophisticated and will continue to get more sophisticated. So let's keep our eye on what's going on there. Okay, so what caught my eye this week? Speaking of eyes, okay, what caught my eye this week is when it comes to AI, can we ditch the data sets? All right, so it's all about supporting what we do more effectively, more efficiently. And one of the areas that we run into commonly is the expense associated with data. So about, 3 or 4 years ago, big data, the idea that AI needs tons of data, right? That these machine learning models, the more data, the merrier, right? Was all the rage. So a ton of investment dollars went into creating systems that really allow us to capture that data, a lot of that data, and we've developed processes to then start layering machine learning models to learn from that data, to be able to use it for other business contexts. And so in this particular article, what's really cool is it's talking about a trend that's hitting the industry, which is to create synthetic data. And this trend is heating up. There's no question about it. And it's actually for good reason. There's a lot of, aside from the expense of storing data, there's also other issues related to it, security risks and all of the other things. Synthetic data presents an opportunity to potentially solve for some of those things. So this week in AI, this is what caught my eye. And why do I care? I care because, one, generative models are all the rage, and they're really cool. And they're getting more sophisticated as we, as practitioners, are getting better at building those generative models to be able to generate things. So generative models, and I've covered them in the past on this show, generate new information. In some cases, they generate ideas. So there was that situation where in South Africa, a patent was approved where the author was actually an AI generative model that generated a novel idea for a product. And then you also have generative models that are building things related to images and things of that nature. And that's actually what this article focused on. The idea is that we can use these models to generate new instances of data that the model infers or imagines, if you will, quote unquote, right? That weren't present in the original training set that model was trained on. So the idea from there is that you can build all these, sort of new instances of data to train another model to be able to do something else. So is it better than real? Is it really better than real data? And that's one of the arguments this article makes, is that in some cases, yeah, it may be. And the idea here is that you solve some of the issues associated with cost of data store, also privacy, and you also enable the ability to improve our detection of edge cases, situations that are super rare, but still may happen. So, for example, in the case of self-driving cars, it may be really difficult to show a self-driving car artificial intelligence kind of model that's been trained to drive a car. It might be really difficult to show them, they use in this particular article, a man running down a highway with his dog, right? That's super rare, right? But it could happen. I mean, certainly humans are crazy, right? So it could happen. And so you could use generative models to create and make those situations real so that you can expand the sort of skills that you're building in those artificially intelligent reinforcement models in that situation. So great ideas, really interesting. There's some opportunities here. I think generative models is a great area to focus on as a student if you're learning something, because they are all the rage and they're super fun to play with. But I will tell you this, I've tried building them. They are very difficult and they do take a long time to train. And so I highly recommend investing a little in like GPU to be able to train those in a little bit more sort of rapid pace. But they do take a lot of tweaking. So something to think about. Really, really cool, interesting article. And guess what? I know I've hit way over my limit, probably double it with you guys. This is my longest show yet. So with that, I'm going to bring you the links to the show. I'm going to try and put them in the comments today so that you have them. If you haven't heard, I will be speaking next week on the Manny Barnaby Show, which you can read all about that. Follow me on LinkedIn. Manny is a great guy. I'm really looking forward to that conversation with him. It's all going to be about healthcare industry and how AI is impacting that industry. So with that, thank you for staying tuned for so long, and I wish you all a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.